Number two, is it going to be boring? You think heaven's going to be boring? No, there's going to be talking animals there. Of course it's not going to be boring. And David Berkheimer's going to be there, and we're going to be drinking cappuccino. It's going to be incredible. It will not be boring. But I do believe that this is a great lie that the enemy has told us. That heaven sounds boring, that we're just going to be in heaven forever, just sitting on a cloud, singing Good, Good Father, as long as eternity is. You're like, do I have to keep singing this song? How long do I have to sing holy, 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 holy? Oh my God, sounds boring. And people will say, well, I would rather go to hell because hell sounds like a lot more fun. That the idea is that in hell, you're going to be surrounded by, all of your friends getting tattoos and taking shots at the bar, and you're just going to be in hell forever. And I would rather go to hell because that's where the party's at. And everybody's just going to be up in heaven singing Good, Good Father forever. That sounds horrible, right? But that's actually not the case. And I think Satan has lied to us and has told us that heaven doesn't sound like much fun. And so enjoy your life now because, well, when it's over, and that's all that there is. But that's not the portrait of heaven that the Bible paints. That's not the picture and the depiction in the Bible that heaven paints. Now, I told you there's 4,742 verses about heaven. I don't have time to tell all of those verses, but I will give you 3 reasons that I don't think that heaven is going to be boring. For number 1, there's going to be work to do in heaven. Now, some of you are like, what? Work? Really? I don't even like my job now. Now I got to go to heaven and start working. In fact, Ephesians 2 tells us that we were predestined by God for good works, that he has good works prepared for us beforehand. Now, in one sense, that is the work for us to do right now by loving and serving and blessing and helping others. But there is good work in heaven waiting for us, because in Genesis 1, what we see is that work is actually a part of God's created design, that God created us to work. It's known as the culture mandate, to be fruitful, to multiply, to subdue the earth with dominion, and to fulfill it. Work is actually a part of God's intended creation for all of us. And so sin comes in Genesis 3, and now work becomes toil and strain, the sweat of the brow. But God's going to recreate work in heaven, and here's what it's going to be like. It's going to be your dream job. How many of you have a dream inside of your heart that you wish you could do something, anything other than what you're currently doing? Right? In heaven, you're going to get to do those things. That God has a plan and a destiny inside of all of us. And because there is sin in the world, sometimes that destiny is robbed from us. And when we get to heaven, we're going to get to live the life that we always had in store for us. So there's going to be work to do in heaven. There's going to be beauty in heaven. There's going to be excitement in heaven. I mean, think about it. There's going to be culture. There's going to be creation. There's going to be architecture. There's going to be design. There's going to be science. There's going to be different things for us to develop and to enjoy and to build and create. I mean, Jesus said he is building a house for us. So maybe we get to work with the little tools with Jesus too and build our own houses. There's going to be so much work for us to do because we're going to be displaying God's creative glory all across the kingdom. Fantastic. The second thing is there's going to be beauty in heaven. In fact, 1 Corinthians 13:12 says, "For now we see through a mirror dimly lit." What does that mean? Everything we see right now is a shadow of the substance that is to come. That the world that we live in is kind of distorted, that there is glimpses and moments of beauty and pockets of heaven that we see in this earth, but it is all kind of distorted by the realities of sin. For now we see through a mirror dimly lit, but on that day we will see him face to face and will be fully known as we are known. What does that mean? That means that there's going to be so much beauty in heaven that no eye has ever seen, nor ear has ever heard, nor man could ever imagine. Do you know what it would be like when the veil of sin is removed and you can see the way that God created? Can you imagine the beauty that is there? There might be colors that you can't even see with our eyes today. And as you look at a painting, you could see it with a vibrance. As you watch a movie, there's a film, or as you see the sunrise, or you look over the mountains and you see the beauty of God's creation perfected in all of its design, and you can see it with a perfected eyesight. Could you imagine that? Everyone with glasses is like, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. But also hearing, because then you could hear the way God intended us to hear. Imagine music in heaven. Imagine birds singing in heaven. Imagine a conversation with a friend in heaven. Imagine the angels worshiping God in heaven with perfected hearing and ears. And then imagine food in heaven. Oh, so good. There's going to be a wedding feast of the Lamb. Jesus is going to cook us a meal, and it's going to be the best meal you've ever had. Imagine a steak cooked by Jesus, right? Imagine the best German chocolate cake, right? Dietrich Bonhoeffer serves it to you and you're just eating that. Oh, he was a German theologian. You're just like, oh, it's so good in heaven because you finally have the taste and the sight and the hearing that God always intended for us to have before sin robbed it from us. God gives back what Satan stole, and he's going to give back infinity in heaven, the beauty of this world. And then lastly, there's going to be travel. Guess what? In heaven, there's streets of gold. What are streets for? Traveling. So there's going to be travel in heaven. And because there is no end to heaven, you could go anywhere you want. How many of you always wanted to travel? You always want to travel? You're like, yes, I would love to go see the world, go see the sights. I would love to go see all of the amazing destinations. You could do that in heaven. You can go travel other places. There is a new earth. And God is going to see and recreate things. And you could go and you could travel to all these, because you're never going to run out of time. What are you going to do? You're like, I'm going to go to Paris today. I think I'm going to go to the Swiss Alps today. I'm going to go climb Mount Everest. You're like, you can't do that. It's too dangerous. You're never going to die either. So you could climb Mount Everest. You could base jump off the Grand Canyon. You could hold your breath and swim to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. You can go explore all of these different things. There's going to be exploration and travel when we get to heaven. It's going to be amazing. And money will be no object, and death will be no end. And you can just go and do what you want when you want. You can travel to worship God, and you can explore all of God's creation. But not only will there be a new earth, there will be a new heaven. And if God's plan is that we would be his glory image bearers all across creation, just saying, intergalactic space travel could be possible. Could be. You laugh, but imagine this. If we have people who are working and crafting beauty and technology and travel for all of eternity, and there is no greed or pride or corporations in heaven, and everybody's working together in unity, it might not seem too far of a stretch that we could actually one day travel to space.